Argentina has defaulted on its national debt 9 times. 9. The United States has defaulted 0 times. Germany once. Even Greece, whose financial collapse shook the entire European Union, has done it once. Argentina has done it 9 times, including the largest sovereign default in human history, and is widely expected by the very institutions that keep lending it money to do it again. This is not a country that stumbled into financial ruin. This is a country that has turned financial ruin into a recurring feature of national life. And understanding why is one of the most revealing case studies in what happens when politics, economics, and national identity collide at full speed for 100 years. To understand Argentina today, you have to understand what Argentina was. At the turn of the 20th century, Argentina was one of the wealthiest countries on earth. Not promising, not developing, wealthy. In 1913, its GDP per capita was higher than France, higher than Germany, higher than Italy, comparable to the United States. Buenos Aires was called the Paris of South America, and not as a compliment to Paris. It was a city of grand boulevards, European architecture, opera houses, and a rapidly expanding middle class fed by one of the most productive agricultural economies the world had ever seen. The Pampas, the vast, flat, impossibly fertile grasslands stretching across central Argentina, could grow almost anything: beef, wheat, corn, soybeans. Argentina was to food in 1900 what Saudi Arabia would become to oil in 1970, a resource superpower, the envy of the world. So what happened? The honest answer is that almost everything happened. But if you had to pick the moment the trajectory changed, the fork in the road that sent Argentina down a path it has never fully escaped, most historians point to the same decade, the 1930s. The Great Depression hit Argentina hard. Export prices collapsed. The government, facing political chaos, was overthrown in a military coup in 1930, Argentina's first, but far from its last. And in the instability that followed, a pattern was established that would define Argentine political economy for the next 90 years. When the economy hurts, the state expands. When the state expands, it spends more than it has. When it spends more than it has, it borrows. When it can't pay back what it borrowed, it defaults. And then, somehow, it finds someone willing to lend again, and the cycle restarts. No single figure embodies this cycle more completely than Juan Perón. Perón came to power in 1946 on a wave of working-class support. He was charismatic, nationalist, and deeply suspicious of foreign capital. His wife, Evita, became one of the most iconic political figures of the 20th century, a symbol of the poor and the forgotten against the landed aristocracy that had run Argentina since independence. Perón's economic model was a version of what economists call import substitution. Close the borders to foreign goods, build Argentine industry behind protective walls, use the wealth from agricultural exports to subsidize urban factories, pay workers well, build loyalty through the state. For a few years it worked. Real wages rose, employment was high, the population adored him. Then the bills arrived. The agricultural sector, the golden goose that funded everything, was systematically squeezed. Export taxes drained the farmers. Price controls destroyed their incentive to invest. The incredibly productive Pampas, which could have continued generating wealth for generations, were treated as a piggy bank to fund an industrial policy that never quite became competitive enough to stand on its own. Foreign reserves collapsed. Inflation rose. Perón was ousted in a military coup in 1955, but the model he built, spend generously, protect domestically, tax the agricultural sector, print money when necessary, and promise the population that outsiders and elites are the problem. That model did not leave with him. It became the operating system of Argentine politics. Every government since, left or right, military or democratic, has run some version of it. The mechanics of Argentina's recurring crises are by now almost algorithmic. It begins with a government that needs to be popular. Popularity in Argentina, as in most places, correlates with economic well-being, so spending increases, subsidies expand, Public sector employment grows. The currency is often kept artificially strong to make imports cheap and keep inflation down, which feels good for consumers right up until it doesn't. The gap between what the government spends and what it collects in taxes is filled with debt, foreign debt, denominated in dollars, because Argentine citizens themselves have learned, through decades of bitter experience, not to trust their own currency. There are more United States dollars held in cash outside the United States than in any other country on Earth. A significant share of them are in Argentine mattresses, Argentine walls, Argentine safe deposit boxes in Montevideo and Miami. This is not paranoia. This is rational behavior, learned from watching the peso collapse over and over again. When the debt becomes unpayable, and it always becomes unpayable, the government faces a choice between two unbearable options. It can devalue the currency, which causes inflation to explode and wipes out the savings of ordinary people, or it can default on the debt, which cuts it off from international capital markets and causes a different kind of economic collapse. Argentina has, at various points in its history, chosen both simultaneously. The 2001 crisis was the worst. Argentina had pegged its peso 1-to-1 to the US dollar through the 1990s, a radical measure to kill the hyperinflation that had reached 3,000% per year in 1989. It worked, briefly. Then, the rigidity of the peg destroyed the country's competitiveness. The economy contracted, unemployment hit 20%, and the government froze bank accounts to stop a bank run. People beat pots in the streets. 5 presidents came and went in 2 weeks. Argentina defaulted on $100 billion of debt. It was the largest sovereign default in history. The poverty rate crossed 50%. The middle class, which had spent a decade believing the good times were structural, discovered overnight that they were not. And yet, Argentina recovered, restructured its debt, grew again, and then, in 2014, defaulted again, and in 2018, went back to the International Monetary Fund for the largest bailout in the fund's history, $57 billion. And in 2020, defaulted again, and is, at the time of this script, living through another crisis. Inflation above 100%, a parallel black market currency rate that makes the official rate a fiction, and a population that has elected a chainsaw-wielding libertarian economist as president in an act of such complete desperation that it tells you everything you need to know about what the previous options felt like. Javier Milei's experiment, slashing the state, dollarizing, cutting subsidies that have existed for decades, may work. It has produced early signs of fiscal stabilization. It has also produced enormous pain for the poorest Argentines who depended most on the systems being cut. Whether the pain produces a durable transformation or simply a new form of the old crisis is a question that history has not yet answered.